spoiler-free review of Creed, and now this is my spoiler review of Creed. So again, this is my spoiler review of Creed. So if you haven't seen Creed, go see Creed. Like you should. It's great. Go see Creed, and then come back and watch this video. So you've been warned. Now I love how this movie opened. It opened in 1998 in that juvenile hall where we see young Adonis, and you know we get a glimpse of the kind of person Adonis is, and he's just getting in fights with the other kids. And then we see Felicia Rashad, Marianne Creed, who she walks in. We don't even know it's her. And then I just like the fact that they tease what her name is and who his father was. But I just love that opening scene because right off the bat right there, we get a glimpse of the kind of person Adonis is and the kind of hard life he's had. And then jump back to present day 2015, we see Adonis on the weekends. He goes to Tijuana, Mexico, and get in these little fights. And I just love the camera work of that. Like that whole fight, it was just all one shot, and it was fairly short, kind of like another fight that I'll get into later. And then it cuts to Adonis working at this accounting firm. And then he just realized, this isn't really for me, so I quit. I'm going to pursue boxing and have it full time. His mother finds out, his adopted mother finds out she's not all this happy about him. And one of the things I love, I said in my original review of this movie, is that I love where they took her in this movie, is that the fact that she doesn't want Adonis to go into boxing because she's afraid that he'll go through what her husband, Apollo Creed, went through. And then I just like how ultimately in the end she accepts it, and then she sends him his father's old boxing shorts for Creed. Now, after seeing Andre Meadows from Black Mirror Comedy getting a pair of Creed shorts in the mail, I'm like, I want my own pair of shorts now. So he travels to Philly, and we get the statue. Now, it was revealed in the second movie, and even in life, the Rocky statue actually does exist. And it was at like the top of the museum where the stairs were, where Rocky he's running up the stairs with. It was actually at the top, but then they moved it to somewhere else in Philly though. But it's still there, and he sees it. And then he goes to Adrian's, the restaurant that Rocky named after his deceased wife Adrian. We see there, and I just like that little interaction with the two of them. And they just go back and forth, and they exchange, and then they just make a whole bunch of references to the other movie. And like, I heard about this other fight between y'all. Who won that fight? After Mickey died, he convinced you to not retire and helped you. And then Rocky's like, how do you know all this? Because he was my father. Now, at first, Rocky, he's stunned at this at first, but then he grows a liking to him. But then once Adonis asks him to train him, he is reluctant at first. Now, right there, I was like, this kind of reminds me of Rocky 5, because, you know, Rocky in that movie, he tried to train someone on his own and take him under his wing. But that didn't work out quite well. But I'm glad it worked out well in this movie. So Adonis, he's getting himself settled in the movie. Now again, I loved Rocky in this movie. Sylvester Stallone played him good in this film, and we see him life after the last movie, Rocky Balboa. And a quick side note, like, one of the things I hate when they do in movies is they disregard characters from the previous movie. So the whole time I was wondering about this movie, I'm like, where are Little Mary and her son? Like, did they just go off somewhere and just leave Rocky there? Like, what the fuck? But nonetheless, we also see what happened to some of the other characters. Like Rocky, he goes to Adrian's grave, and who's right next to her? Paulie. And yes, apparently thanks to that second trailer, we find out that Paulie, he's dead. And even Tony Duke Evers, like, I didn't really catch where he was, but he did have a son, and he's at the gym where Apollo and his son, played by Wood Harris, is in the gym dedicated to Apollo Creed. And speaking of gyms, I like what they did with Mick's Gym. They got it updated, got it painted, they revived it, and some of Rocky's closest friends are there, and they don't even know who Adonis is until they had to look him up. But getting back to Rocky's friends real quick, I kind of like what they did with his story, because it's like all his friends and wife and everything are gone, and now he has nothing to live for anymore. And his son Robert, they even referenced him, like when Rocky, he takes Adonis into his home, and he puts him in Paulie's room, and then he sees a picture of Rocky and his son when they're back in the younger days, which is actually his actual son, and I actually noticed it too, so hey. Rocky, he says that his son Robert, he moved to Vancouver with his girlfriend, and I was like, I guess. Would have been nice to see him in this movie, but hey, it'll do. I guess it makes sense. But that was ultimately my biggest concern, because some of the characters from the previous movies were not present in this film. Now, it didn't detract from the movie, but at the same time, it would have been nice to pretty much reference them a little bit more and seeing where they are. with the exception of Polly, who is dead. Now again, the relationship between Adonis and Bianca, it worked in this movie. And Tessa Thompson, she works as his character. She's a singer, and she has progressive hearing loss, but the way the two of them click to each other and hang out with each other and just fall in love with each other, it just worked in the movie, and it's kind of almost reminiscent of Rocky and Adrian. And she eventually finds out who he really is. He finds out he's Apollo Creed's son, and she's mad at him at first, but then she grows a liking to it, and she understands why he didn't tell her, and the fact that he doesn't want to live in his father's shadow or doesn't want to be known for just the Creed name. But we also get more of the training. Like we get that very first real fight, and it was all one shot. Like I remember halfway through, I was like, wait, are we still on the same shot? I just love that, and I love Ryan Coogler's direction within this film. It's just that first real fight. It was all just one shot, and we went back and forth with Adoni, and then the other dude, and then in the corner when he's trying to recover for a little bit, and just back and forth, and he ultimately wins that fight. And some of the training stuff was cool too, just going like one step at a time, and just one punch, two punch, or whatever. And even a little side gag, which is a callback to the first film, where Rocky, he had to run and get the chickens, as opposed to Donnie, he catches the chickens quick, and then Rocky, he's all like, the chickens are getting slow. You know, Rocky, he's taking on that role that Mickey had. Adonis, he's all mad at that at first, and Rocky, he said some things that kind of hurt his feelings, you know, got all in his feelings. But at the end of the day, Rocky, he really didn't mean it, to the point where Adonis, he visits Bianca, and then he sees this one dude, he kept calling him, like, hey, what's up, baby Creed? And then Adonis getting mad, like, hey, don't call me that. And then one thing led to another, then boom, fight, and then he end up in jail. Rocky bails him out of jail. But then that kind of starts some friction between Adonis and Bianca, and ultimately it's kind of an ego thing. But luckily, their relationship is mended in the end. But again, back to the emotional heartstring in this movie is the fact that, hey, if I fight, you fight with me. So Rocky, he's fighting to get treated for chemotherapy, and then Adonis, he's fighting for that final fight against Conan, or whatever his name is, I forgot his name all of a sudden. The English dude, he fights him, and he's actually a real boxer though, from what I've looked up. But I just love that montage, and the music in this movie, oh my gosh, like, I'll admit, like, some of the music in this movie at the very beginning, I was like, this is more urban. And I thought they had some classic Rocky stuff, which they kind of did, but they put a little spin on it. But the new music in this movie actually kicks ass, and I'm looking for the soundtrack right now. I can't wait to get it, as well as the score in this movie, and it actually working. And I honestly respect the work that Bill Conti did for the original films. And I just love that shot where Adonis, he's running, and then those biker dudes, they're running behind him, and then they all circle him, and then Adonis is like, yeah, yeah. It just, the music and the atmosphere, it just worked, and it got me all pumped up. But ultimately, it's like, this movie is ultimately about family. The bond that Rocky and Adonis had in the movie, and it honors the respect of the legacy of the Rocky films. Now we finally get to that final fight, and again, Adonis' mother sends him the shorts, he puts them on, everyone is booing him at the beginning, but then everyone starts to cheer at him because he's earned the respect of everybody. In the beginning, Adonis, doing the fight, he's having a hard time, but then he comes back, and even during that blow, when he gets punched, and it's all slow-mo or whatever, and then you can tell Adonis, he's on the ground, and then he's just having flashbacks and thinking about his life and thinking about his father, and then he just snaps out of it and just gets up, and then he just keeps going, and the other dude, he's like, wait a minute, he's still up? What the hell? And ultimately, that's just a callback to Rocky Balboa in Rocky's speech when he says, it ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And that's what Adonis did. He just got up and just keep moving forward. No matter how hard it got, he just kept punching. And ultimately, the end result is the same as the first movie, where no one won, they just kept going, and by split decision, the English dude won. But then the English dude, he respects Adonis for his determination, and he's the future of lightweight boxing. And that's what I loved about this movie. Hey man, I know I beat you, but hey, I admire your guts. You got heart. And Adonis is very appreciative of that. And then the announcer, he's like, if you knew your father, what do you think he would say? He's like, and then Adonis, he acknowledges his father, and he says, I will tell him I love him, and I understand it is not his fault, or whatever. Like I said, this is easily one of my top favorites of the year, and I applaud Ryan Coogler for making a film that actually captures the essence of the very first Rocky, and even to a certain degree, Rocky II and Rocky Balboa, because ultimately, like Rocky Balboa, Creed is like a love letter to Rocky. and how much it means to everyone and how inspiring it could be. I gave this movie an A++, and I stand by that rating, because this is definitely a movie that deserves any success it gets. I just love this movie, and now as far as where I've ranked this movie, now again, I said Rocky 3 is my favorite of the Rocky movies, but I definitely put Creed somewhere, it's right up there. But asking this question again in about 6 months or so I can let Creed marinate with me, so I can determine what I like more, Rocky 3 or Creed. But yeah, express how much I love this movie, and it was definitely inspiring, as to any of the other Rocky movies, because ultimately the Rocky franchise is about one person who has a 1 in a million shot, and he goes for it, and then even if he loses, he just wants to go the distance and proves that he's not just another bum from the streets. You're trying to prove that you're someone who is worth a damn and is worthy of your opponents, and trying to be someone, and proving that you're a winner. And if you lose, at least you lose with no excuses. But ultimately, like Sylvester Stallone said, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. And that is how winning is done. And I just love that quote because it ultimately resonates with me. And it could resonate with anyone because no one hits as hard as life. And we just have to take what life gives at us. And we just have to take what life throws at us. And we just have to just keep punching through and just keep punching through until we can't take no more. And that right there is the ultimate road to success. And that is the reason why I love the Rocky series. And why decades upon decades of people love this series. Because it gives people hope and it's relatable. And I'm glad, and even though I didn't grow up with these movies, I'm glad I caught it when I did. Because whenever I'm feeling sad or whatever, I could just pop these in. Because I can just pop them in, and they could ultimately give me and anyone else out there hope. It makes them feel good, and give them the confidence that they need to succeed in life. And that is ultimately why I love movies, because movies can do stuff like this. Alright, so pretty much that's the end of my movie flashbacks of the Rocky series, and I'm finally glad I saw Creed. That was definitely one of my most anticipated of the year, even though I didn't put it in my most anticipated movies of the year video. At the time, I didn't know that Creed would come out this year, so that was one of my most anticipated. But I hope you enjoyed my movie flashbacks. That's it for the day. If you like what you see, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my other channel. The links are in the description below. And be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Movie Pilot, and Periscope. Peace.